NobleCon 19 at Florida Atlantic University. Located at the center of one of South Florida's most vibrant and fastest growing cities, Boca Raton offers an unparalleled cultural, recreational, educational, and business environment, the perfect setting for NobleCon 19. Now in its 19th year, NobleCon 2023 will be our biggest ever. We're inviting more companies, larger companies, and dramatically expanding the investor representation. And with the move to the FAU College of Business Executive Education, all new, state-of-the-art 50,000 square foot facility, NobleCon is the gold standard on the conference circuit. NobleCon 19 at FAU. It's time to invest in knowledge. Welcome to SPACtrac, presented by ChannelCheck and Noble Capital Markets. Noble's an SEC-registered, FINRA-licensed broker-dealer and the source of the equity research available on ChannelCheck. This program is designed for investors to stay up to date on the progress of special-purpose acquisition companies. Today's interview features Better World Acquisition Corp. Noble Senior Research Analyst Joe Gomes interviews Better World CEO Rosemary Ripley and CFO Peter Grubstein. Visit channelcheck.com or click the link in the description for an exclusive SPAC report on Better World Acquisition Corp and Heritage Distilling, as well as news and advanced market data. And now, here's Joe, Rosemary, and Peter.
Good afternoon, Rosemary and Peter, and thanks for taking the time to sit down with us.
It's a pleasure. Thanks.
Delighted to be here.
So before we delve into the recent business combination announcement, can you give a brief history of Better World Acquisition Corp for those in the audience unfamiliar with the company?
Certainly. We did our first fundraise, an IPO, in November of 2020. We raised approximately $125 million. And we did it by focusing on what we know best, which is, even before it was called ESG, it was ESG investing. We have a private equity background. I'm the founder of NGen, which is one of the original venture clean tech ESG type companies out there. And we've always been focused on doing what is better for people and better for the environment. We have three partners in Better World who happen to have been the three partners at NGen: Rosemary Ripley, who you will be talking with, Shay Murphy, and myself. We have a diverse background. Rosemary comes from the corporate world. I come from an operational background, and Shay comes from a financial background. But we've all spent the better part of our career really trying to make environmental investing, social investing a reality, and recognizing that actually by doing the right thing, it's a more profitable way to run a company.
Great. Thanks for the insight. Let's move now to the December 9th announcement of a business combination transaction with Heritage Distilling Holding Company. Let's start with who Heritage is, what the company does, how you came to find Heritage, and how does Heritage fit into Better World's goal of investing in firms with strong ESG profiles?
Thanks for the question. So Heritage Distilling is a premium craft spirits company, a rapidly growing category, estimated to grow over 30% in the next several years, and highly profitable. So the category is extremely attractive, and on top of that, the company has a history of innovative premium spirits and is developing a unique distribution channel. Really, it has not been done before, which positions the company to be the first national craft distilling producer. That is hugely exciting. The channel will be built in partnership with Native American tribes, who will end up owning the channel and benefit from the tax advantages that they enjoy on highly taxed categories like alcohol. Again, this is a channel that will be owned and built by the tribes, selling spirits to their customers who come already to their tribal lands to participate in a variety of activities, including hospitality, food, restaurant, and casinos. So these distilleries will be adjacent to those properties. We found it through our network of people. We've been in the healthy consumer area as part of what we have done as investors over the last several decades, and are very excited about the company and the management team.
Excellent. Can you provide some financial detail as to the specifics of the transaction?
Certainly. We are putting together a merger with our SPAC. The equity value is approximately $122 million. We are paying, we think, a well-priced valuation for Heritage of $77 million for its enterprise value. And Rosemary can, if you want later, we can go into the details as how that reflects as a multiple of earnings and multiple of revenue versus the comparables. But we think it's a very well-valued transaction.
Okay, yeah,
if you look at it against 2025 revenue, it's a discount of over 55% to the comps. It's a lesser discount on 24 revenue because the company is growing so rapidly compared to comps. So comps are growing about single digits, and this company is growing at closer to 50% plus per annum.
Very nice. Very nice. That's what we like to hear. A nice discount. One of the interesting elements of the proposed transaction is the use of contingent value rights to provide some downside protection to Better World stockholders. Can you provide our audience with some detail as to how the CVR works?
It's a non-dilutive. That's probably the most important part about the CVR. It's a non-dilutive vehicle. The contribution of the shares actually come from the sponsor and the company. So we're combined giving up about 60% of our existing shares into an escrow. And that escrow is released to the new shareholders of the combined organization if we do not hit certain price per share thresholds. It's geared towards a 10% rate of return. So that means on a downside protection, if the shares are trading and goes down as low as about $3.50 a share, you would be getting almost all of our shares. If the shares are at $7 a share, you're getting some of our shares. If it's $11 a share, you're still getting some of our shares because we're providing the upside of the 10%. And it lasts for 18 months to 24 months. 18 is what it's on the paper. We have the option to prove that we can get to where we need to be by extending it an extra 6 months. But we think it's a good non-dilutive way of providing the shareholders with a vehicle that is effectively a natural hedge. The CVR will trade publicly, and it will be the reciprocal of our stock price. So if the stock price is $9, the CVR should be worth $1, pegged at a $10 start price. So if it goes down to $6, you're looking at a $4 CVR. They trade independently, and you can sell them independently.
Very interesting. Now, Rosemary, you talked about the craft distilling market and how it's projected to grow at a 30+% compound annual rate, I think through 2026, maybe even more than that. What is driving this growth?
So I've spent roughly 30 plus years in the consumer industry, and what one wants to always invest in is a growing category. Ultimately, that growth is driven by consumers looking for different or preferred solutions. In this case, it's all about flavor. So that is really what's driving the category. Consumers are tired of the old mainstream brands and want artisanal small batch products that are made with a focus on quality and a focus on taste, superior taste. So that is really what's behind it.
Okay.
I happen to also be on the board of a couple of publicly traded beverage companies and have spent a lot of time looking at different categories. I would say that the category of craft spirits is one of the most attractive from a growth and profitability standpoint that exists.
Sounds like a really nice place to be today. Now, however, there are a large number of players in the spirits market, as you know, with much greater financial resources and brand recognition than Heritage. So how does Heritage stand out from the competition, gain mind share of consumers, and shelf space at retailers?
It's a very good question. It's not easy to do. And we are counting on the fact that the company has developed, because of its work with Native American tribes in 2018, where the founder and CEO helped change a law that had been on the books in Washington, D.C. since 1834, under the time of Andrew Jackson, to allow Native Americans to distill products on their tribal lands. So this only happened in 2018. It's a new change in the industry. And in partnership with a wide variety of tribes, they are launching new distillery facilities across the country. And these points of production will also become points of sale and distribution. So consumers, whether they're in Oklahoma or Massachusetts, will have the chance to sample Heritage products, see the name, have the opportunity to buy product, and it creates a nice virtuous circle with the distributors that Heritage is working with, so that consumers can find product and then go into the stores and ask for it, and distributors can fulfill. So it's a very synergistic process. Ultimately, we think this distribution channel that they're developing will be a very important part of the value of the entire brand proposition.
Well, it's local manufacturing as well with it. So it's local manufacturing and distribution, which is pretty unique.
So you kind of leapfrogged on my next question, which is fine. So here we wanted to talk a little bit more about the Tribal Beverage Network. And you mentioned, and I can see the benefit of getting the Heritage name out there more, people being able to sample. But financially, how does this benefit Heritage?
So I think the most important thing is two factors. One is that since the network will be owned by the tribes, it's the tribes that are building the distilleries and building the tasting rooms and the restaurants and the stores that will actually sell Heritage products. So it's a low CapEx model for Heritage. The second piece is, since it will be branded Heritage and carry Heritage product, it will spread the brand, and in exchange, the tribes are offering Heritage a royalty off the top of gross sales. So it's a CapEx light model for Heritage, with very attractive royalty streams that are part of multi-year contracts. So recurring revenue is something that is an attractive feature for investors as well as they look at this opportunity.
Yes, I always like to see recurring revenue, and it is a really unique, and you can see where it's a win-win proposition for both the Native American tribes and Heritage. Now, Heritage is projecting substantial growth in its points of distribution over the next couple of years. I assume part of it will be adding more of the tribes into the Tribal Beverage Network. How else will the company accomplish increasing its points of distribution?
Well, the company has relationships with the two biggest national distributors. The primary one is Republic National Distribution, RNDC, and they are in almost all, they're in, I think, shy of 12 states in the country, and the balance will be sold through some other local and state-specific distributors, but primarily through the second largest distributor in the United States that Heritage has a relationship with, again, complemented with the relationship with the tribes, so that the tribal distribution points can be not only local production points, but local warehouse points where the distributor can pick up and distribute locally. So shipping liquid across the country is an expensive proposition. So there's some important freight benefits as well as excise tax benefits, because the tribes generally do not pay excise taxes on their products, which is a very attractive feature as well.
Now, Rosemary, you talked a little bit about your background in the consumer products area, and how that dovetails nicely with Heritage. Can you talk a little bit more about the Heritage management team, what we're going to see here going forward?
Yes, absolutely. So the founder, as you can imagine, has been not only deeply involved in this industry for about 10 years. He actually also had a lifelong love affair with the notion of distilling, and apparently built his first trial distillery when he was only in 7th grade as part of a science experiment. So he's been involved and has an engineering background. But most importantly, because of his work changing the law that had been on the books since 1834, he is viewed as having credibility with Native American people, as he's highly knowledgeable about the regulatory framework, and it's, after all, a highly regulated industry. So that's a very important component. And so that's a starting point. In addition, he's put together an early team of people around him. And because of our work as private equity investors, building out teams for emerging growth companies, we are working quite quickly to help him attract a world-class board, which we have already built and are very excited about. We are currently recruiting for a new national head of sales. We will be recruiting for a new additional executive, probably at the chief operating officer level as well, to give additional strength. And so that is part of our focus as partners with Heritage over the next couple of years.
Let's switch gears to the financial side of the house for the second. Can you speak to the projected revenue growth and expected EBITDA margin growth over the near term?
Sure. Well, first of all, just to respond a little bit to what Rosemary and you have been talking about, we feel very confident on the revenue growth because of the duality, really, of wholesale distribution and the Tribal Beverage Network. With the tribes that we have in our pipeline and the distribution programs that we have for our various products, we're looking at about a 74% compounded annual growth rate between 22 and 2025. I mean, this is really phenomenal when you consider it against the industry, which is in single digits. Similarly, as Rosemary also indicated, this is a high margin business. We're looking at about a 33% EBITDA margin in 2025. And it should expand significantly. Gross margin is closer to 62%, for example, in 2025.
Excellent. Some nice growth there projected. Recently, there's been a lot of talk in the press about inflation, supply chain constraints, imbalance in supply and demand for employees. Is this affecting Heritage? And if so, how is the company addressing these?
Supply chain's obviously a crucial issue. We're very fortunate in that we tend and really work hard to buy regenerative products. So there are defined sources of our grains, and feel that we're in a good position overall. The relatively difficult area is in our bottling products, whether that's bottles or cans, and that just takes a longer lead time, requires greater planning. Relative to the major issue that you talked about, it's labor. It's everywhere. But there, we think that our mission is really very attractive to people. Not only do we pay proper wages and have an exciting place to work, but people are aligned with the fact that there's economic advancement for the Native Americans. And we are having a capital light model, which is terrific for us. But for the Native Americans, they're saving so much on the alcohol that they're serving at their venues that it's also extremely profitable for them. So it's a good model for attracting people.
Okay. Now, I realize, we're putting the cart before the horse here, but could investors see M&A in the company's future to generate even faster growth?
It's possible. And there are some very attractive smaller brands out there, but it's not part of our core plan. There's huge growth here just in continuing to run their business, get some adequate capital behind it, and build it out with a deeper and stronger management team.
So strong focus on organic growth. Excellent. What do you see as the biggest challenges for Heritage Distilling going forward?
I think the biggest challenge for any company always is executing consistently and with quality through the vagaries of the markets and the ups and downs of this economy that we're in. So we and this management team are going to be just laser focused on execution and delivering what we've said we're going to deliver for investors.
Excellent. We see the combined entity as an undervalued situation, especially when comparing the company to other craft distilling firms. What steps are you taking or expect to take to help bridge the current discount?
We believe that, again, if we can execute with quality and consistency and show investors that quarter after quarter we can do what we say we're going to do, we will earn the right to be priced at least in line, if not at a premium to the rest of the sector. But always with a newly public company, I think one has to expect that investors will look at us with a little bit more skepticism than they'll look at the companies that have been out there for decades delivering with quality and purpose. So we believe that the pricing discount that we've got is appropriate for the situation, and we expect to bridge it by doing what we say we're going to do every quarter and being fully aligned with the message of consistency and quality.
Putting together the basic blocking and tackling. Gotta like that. Finally, Rosemary, can you give us your elevator pitch for an investor looking at Heritage Distilling?
Absolutely. It's a differentiated premium spirits craft company, creating a new distribution channel which will help them build the first national craft distilling spirits company. Building this channel and a sizable business in partnership with Native American tribes. So we're very excited. We think this is the S in ESG and a group that has long been not given the proper recognition that it really deserves. Thank you.
Well, Rosemary and Peter, we covered a lot of ground today and got significant insight into the proposed combination of Better World and Heritage Distilling, what the market opportunity is, and the growth potential. We appreciate you taking the time to do this C-suite interview, and we wish you and the company the best in the future. Thanks again.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
With more than 6,000 small and micro-cap companies listed, if you're looking for the next Apple, then ChannelCheck truly is the orchard. It's an investor community where you can access independent Wall Street research, advanced market data, balanced news, corporate videos, and podcasts. You can even register to attend in-person Meet the Management Series luncheons, and to be part of the preeminent annual Small and Micro-Cap Investor Conference, NobleCon. And here's the best news. Since ChannelCheck is sponsored by the featured companies, premium membership requires no investment. It's absolutely free. So check it out. Log in today. Find out why ChannelCheck is North America's leading source of research on the companies that just may change the world.